Hey guys, it's an update on the crypto space. Yes, I am shooting right now during the Super Bowl. It's the third quarter right now. And well, I got to do it sometime because we've been seeing a bit of a shift in the sentiment since our last update. We actually started pulling back in a lot of the cryptos a few days ago. Today is February 13th here in Texas. And well, we've started to pull back a little bit lower. Bitcoin sits just below $42,000 while Ethereum is getting in the lower 2,800 range. And this is the most significant pullback we've had in couple of weeks. Actually, we hit our low on January 24th, and ever since then we have what appears to be a corrective bounce. This is our Bitcoin chart, 1 hour linear view, and well, we had our low right around 32,959, something like that in Bitcoin. And well, I had two alternate patterns here, one of which was calling for this potentially being a 1-2 in green here. Move that one out, and well, our structure didn't look quite conventional. You typically don't see a second wave stretch out like this over the longer term. But then we had an explosive rally up all the way to the 1.764 extension, which is typical of a proper 5-wave impulse up. What's the problem? The problem is that the shape looks all funky. Right here, we have a nasty pullback, kind of a dip. So where's the bottom of the wave to? It could be here, it could be there. I think it best counts as a B wave bottom here, and then we had a C wave. And ever since then, we've had a sharp pullback. And really, it looks like it's a consolidation. If this ends up being a 3-wave pullback that's not too deep, then we may get that 5th wave higher to complete a proper 5th wave up. When we look at Ethereum, the situation is similar. This is the 1 hour chart, and same thing here. You know, I was really leaning towards this being an AB and an ending diagonal C wave. And well, so far with this latest pullback, it's looking like we have exactly that. We've actually broken down below the diagonal trend channel line, as you can see here. And we've gone as low as 28.29, and this also looks incomplete. It looks like we have a bit lower to go. So if we have basically a higher low compared to our low of 21.59 on January 24th, there's a chance this could be a kind of an ugly 5-wave diagonal up, and we have a retrace back. Not sure yet, but the good thing is that if this is just a fake out, if this really is just maybe a 4th wave or something, which we'll look at on the big picture in a second, that this is a C wave, then we should have a resolution relatively quickly in a matter of days. Actually, it should come back down really quick. On the big picture, this is our Bitcoin chart. This pullback doesn't look particularly big, but we do have our diagonal set up here. So when we look at this thing, we got our 1, our 2, and our 3. Purple is primary, so I'm calling this low here on what is this, January 24th, as our 3rd wave down in this bigger pattern. I did mention a couple times in some of the other videos that our red pattern is probably no longer valid because we came down so low. It doesn't look like a 1st wave to me. It is bouncing, but I think it counts better as, well, either the 4th wave, or maybe this is the green 2nd wave with this being a 1st wave. Not totally sure, but I don't think this being the red 1st wave makes any sense in a bigger crash. It may be that this is an A, we're having a big B wave bounce, and we have a final C wave to come. That might make some more sense. Right now, we're just speculating, but purple is my primary, and that calls for us having gotten into this blue box. That would be the standard target zone for what we're looking at in Bitcoin. And so far, it's more or less gotten this blue box. It's starting to pull back. Once we break below this blue box, that's going to give us a little bit more, it's going to give the purple pattern more of an edge, with the green pattern losing some of its credibility. So the lower we pull back now, the less likely the green pattern becomes. Again, the green pattern calls for the 24th bottom having been the bottom. So we would expect a 5-wave bounce and then a retrace no lower than that low, and then we'd be off to the races. So far, this looks corrective, especially on the big picture chart in Bitcoin. You have an A, B, and a C pattern up, as you see here. And well, 3 waves up fits the definition of a 4th wave perfectly. In addition, on the structure here with diagonal patterns, you expect to see your 4th wave bounce above where the 1st wave peak was. So we got that overlap. So our 1st wave went down as low as 41,800. We went as high as 46,000 plus. So we got that overlap. It's got that diagonal look, even though we broke through the channel trend line top. It was a 3-wave corrective wave. So there's no clear bullish breakout yet. I'll be looking for a 5-wave impulse. You're not seeing that. Now, there is a chance, like I said, you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we get another 5th wave higher, that would be a clear 5-wave rebound. And well, I would be looking to buy heavily on the rebound back, or on the retrace back. So I'm going to shift back to the closer picture. And before I do that, I would like to mention this chart will be available in the description below. So look out for that link. Now, when we look at our internal fibs for Bitcoin, as I mentioned, we did hit the 1.764, which is a common target for our fifth wave. However, because of the structure, it doesn't look like this is a fifth wave. At best, this is 3 up. If that really is 3 up, we got past the 1.618. Typically, your support would fall around the 1.0. And well, we're getting dangerously close to invalidating it. As a matter of fact, we extended so high to the 1.764. Really, our support is probably close to the 1.236 extension. That would put us at 42,693. And we have convincingly broken down through that. So if we break down through this 1.0 extension, again, that sits at 42,275, there's a very good chance we've got a good bit lower to go. How low are we going to go? Well, we haven't asked that question in quite a while, but my pattern here, purple, again, being primary, is calling for us to go down as low as, and scoop this thing over. Well, it really depends on how you count it. So I'm going to extend this first wave down from here. And if our second wave is here, and we hit almost the 1.0, you would expect us to go down to the 1.618 or lower, or I'm sorry, 1.32 to 1.618. So what I would expect us to hit would be around 26,000 to about 23,000, right in that range. And that does fit in with our big picture. I think I had a low target of potentially $21,000 if our A and our C wave are equivalent. I'm going to shift this to the daily view because this is getting a little cluttered for me here. I don't know if that helped. Go back to that 4-hour view. So 21 would be the ideal bottom based on where we hit during our May 2021 peak. Actually, April, because Bitcoin was ahead of all the other cryptos. So A, B, your C would be the 1.0 extension of that. And I'm actually going to shift to a different view just to give us a better look at what to expect in Bitcoin. So if that is the case, if this whole thing is the A wave and we bounced, we are looking at a 1-to-1 of, put this thing here, not the pitchfork, here we go, right tool for me. That's the A wave, that's the B wave. The 1.0 falls at about 30,000. So that would be an ideal retracement. However, I would expect to fall a little bit lower. It is common to see C waves at the 1.236, 1.32 extension, maybe as low as the 1.618. I don't personally think it's going to go that low, but they would all be fair range. They could all be hit. In addition, when we look at our Fibonacci pinball targets here, we hit the 1.618. So our ideal retracement point would be about the, well, anywhere from 24 to 32,000. That would all be fair range for a C wave pullback. Would not surprise me at all. That's what that red line is. That's why it's where it is. So this whole box is fair range for Bitcoin to pull back into. So don't be surprised if that is going to happen. We should start seeing some downward action relatively soon. If that does happen, remember, that will be the time to be greedy when others are fearful. Get your buying plans ready. I'll be releasing videos on potential plays using the BITO ETF, or BITO as I'll be referring to it as. There may be a short play there that could be possible. As with any pullback, we may see an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down. And I'm actually going to draw that thing here to make it a little bit more clear what I'm referring to, just specifically for our Bitcoin BITO play. So in a diagonal, your internal wave structures are going to be ABC, 3-wave zigzags. So something like this could manifest. So maybe we have an A wave go like this, B wave bounce, and then you have a final C wave to finish it off. Again, your fifth wave, I would expect to have 3 waves like this. B wave may have a sharp retrace. Once we have that bounce, it could be a good play to short here, maybe buy some BITO puts if you want to go long. Obviously, you would like to buy a lot of Bitcoin there, as well as potentially BITO or BITO calls. So those are all options, no pun intended. You have an option to buy options just to make the speculative play. But again, your biggest play should be buying more Bitcoin if you're trying to raise your allocations, if you're trying to buy back in, if you bailed earlier. And if you're a hodler, keep hodling. If you're into dollar cost average, if you stop, that would be a great time to start getting it turned back on. Now, shifting over to Ethereum, now that we've got Bitcoin out of the way, as I mentioned earlier, the situation is very similar here. We hit the 1.618 extension. We actually exceeded it, and we should not have broken down below the 1.0 extension here. That 1.0 falls at about 2882, 2884, something like that. We have clearly broken below that. So that's a very clear sign that this pink magenta looking ABC is the operative pattern in hand. So while there's a small chance that this is a 1, 2, that's a 3 deep fourth wave, and we may have a fifth wave bounce up, it's getting less and less likely just because of the shape of this thing. So the optimist bullish pattern would be that you have this as the fourth wave, and maybe you have that final fifth wave higher. If we see that final push higher, and then we see a clear corrective pullback, that would be a buy alert potential. I mentioned this in the Bitcoin update as well. There's a chance that this thing still salvages, but the lower we go here, the more and more likely it makes this alternate red pattern, and the less likely this green pattern gets. And as I mentioned, when we look at the diagonal trend line here, you have an A wave that was 3 waves, B wave that was corrective, and then this pattern here looks like an ending diagonal C wave. You have 5 waves up. They stayed within the channel trend lines, and we've broken down below that. So that's a clear sign that we're having a reversal in our general trend. Bigger picture, this chart, of course, will be available in the description below, so be sure to check out the link to it. Similar story with Bitcoin. We had an expanded flat. Well, that's the red interpretation, the red pattern. Red, purple, same difference here. The red pattern would call this entire thing a first wave down. I see that as very unlikely at the moment, just because we've come so stretched. So purple is my primary, and it's looking like, again, it's between purple and green. Where would our ideal retracement point be if this really is what's going on? Well, we had our A wave here that ended on June of 2021. We had a bounce, expand B wave. So if we take this Fibonacci extension here, and well, we extend to the 1.0, that would put us at 1900. That could be a potential bottom for Bitcoin. However, C waves can often hit other significant Fibonacci numbers, and our ideal retracement point does fall around 1700. So I'm going to shift to our big picture to give us a look at that whole thing. Shift to Ethereum here, get rid of the MACD real quick. And well, based on our standard Elliott wave Fibonacci pinball targets, when we lay that out, 1713 is the 1.0 extension. That would be the ideal retracement point from the 1.618 target that we almost hit in our third wave. So 1713 is probably a lower bound target if we do fall harder. And well, there's a chance we go all the way down to 1100. I'm not completely convinced we're going to go that low. Just like Bitcoin, we've bounced so high. I think the overall sentiment is high. The bull market is not dead, so no reason to panic. Shifting back to this closer up chart, again, this is the 4-hour logarithmic chart. What I expect to see here, well, I've got a lot of junk going on here. I'm going to delete all this stuff because it's just cluttering up the screen. The shape looks better for Ethereum than Bitcoin, but like I said, because we already broke support, purple's looking more and more likely, and the more we drop, the less likely green gets. And well, once we break 2175, that's about where our bottom was on the 24th, or the 22nd, whichever it was. That would immediately invalidate green, and I would expect us to fall again to the 1900. That would be one of the ideal retracement points. And I'm actually going to draw out a Fibonacci extension based on the purple pattern. So this is based on the beginning being somewhere around here, and this spike down on December 3rd being our first wave. If that is the case, and our second wave bounced up to here in typical diagonal fashion, we actually did go low enough for this to be over, but I don't see a clear fourth wave bounce and then another fifth wave. So the jury is out on this. The jury is out. The verdict is out on this. Once you show the retrace here, 0.618 is a common extension for the fifth wave in a diagonal. So a lot of signs, a lot of confluence in this region. You see the 2 thick red lines. That would probably be your BTFD point right there. Again, you want to be greedy when others are fearful. No matter how sharply we may pull back, that does not at all in any way indicate that the bull market is over. As I mentioned, we didn't quite go low enough for our fourth wave in the big picture. So there's a chance we touch that area again. If that's the case, I'll be definitely highlighting some strategies and giving you guys warnings on what to expect next. Again, in the short term, let's see if this turns around and gives us a fifth wave up. That could give us a diagonal fifth wave up. Otherwise, we should see a very quick resolution to this. This thing could fall right through the floor very quick. That would be a good thing. Am I sadistic? No. Am I a masochist? No. If this thing falls through and breaks the support, again, it makes our analysis much easier. We will know with much more confidence that we are in purple. Now that brings us to the question of how are other altcoins doing, or how are altcoins doing? Well, I'm going to look at Bitcoin Cash real quick. Pretty sharp pullback. This especially looks like 3 waves up. There's no clear 5 up here. So Bitcoin Cash is not helping our case for green. Ethereum Classic, similar situation. A little bit better maybe. Litecoin, another ugly boomerang shape thing going on. Dash, look at this thing. Again, looks like an ABC up. If we get that higher high, maybe a 5-wave diagonal up. Not clear. I'm going to go look at Chainlink here. Chainlink is making a very strong case that we're about to fall right down through the support. So keep an eye on Chainlink. Dash and Chainlink seem to give us early warnings of some of the latest developments. EOS, that ain't looking pretty. We broke really low. And finally, I'm going to look at Polygon. Same thing. It's making a very strong case that we are going to go down and have that lower low. So that is the update. I'm definitely going to have a lot more updates on specific altcoins. So look out for those. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything. And if you enjoyed my video, don't forget to give me a like. Till next time, thank you for watching and happy trading.